Alrighty guys, take 394. So previously I filmed, edited, and put out a video on this. I have subsequently deleted it because I wasn't happy with the fact that I couldn't have figured out the autofocus. I have since gone into the menus on that camera. I have since received my new lens for this camera. And I think I'm finally there. I think I'm to the point where I could do this video and other videos and it be okay. So here I am, Devin Talks Tabletop. Nice to meet you. YouTube channel where the games are made up. What I say doesn't matter. And today I have a production demo box of Harakiri Blades of Honor. This is from Synergic Games. This was on Kickstarter. I believe the late pledge is still available on Kick and Go. I've added that link down below in this video description. I've also added the links for the two-part playthrough from Gaming Rules from Paul Grogan. He's done the first adventure phase and then the second exploration phase, which if you're not familiar with this game, this is a two-part adventure game. It has the adventure phase in which you have a larger map board, which you'll see in a moment once I unbox this. And then you will also have a modular tile exploration phase, which functions more like a dungeon crawler. So this is not the final form of the game. This is not a pre-production copy of everything in the game. This is simply a production demo box. It has got pieces from the game that I can show you that is showing you what the whole game will be comprised of in smaller pieces. I've got miniatures inside here. I've got a map board inside here. I've got some cards, some dice, some metal coins. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to show it to you. And when I'm doing the top down, I'm actually going to be standing up, I believe, just to where I can get kind of like my blocking hand and the miniatures as close to the video as possible so that you can see the details as much as you can. All right. I think this is going to be the one that works, so hopefully it's the one that works. Let's get started. Alrighty, before I get too much into this, I just wanted to show you the top cover of the box from the top-down view. Looks very nice. You have kind of like maybe the Edo period Japanese samurai here with full mask on and armor, and then you have the Japanese kind of calligraphy written in maybe blood or maybe just red ink, and then you have the title Harakiri Blades of Honor from Synergic Games. Let's get into it. Alrighty, before we get to the miniatures, we have some of the other components that we can look at here. Here's the player board. We have the female like legendary archer Tomo here. This is a piece that slots into the dual layer dashboard. You've also got inset slots for you to track health and other characteristics of your player. And then you also have another dual layer section here to slot in some cards or abilities. So this is your player dashboard. You have your characters that go in here. Some nice artwork even in the blank state underneath the cards, and all of that is nicely tucked away. This is the player dashboard. Next up, we have two different enemy boards. You've got a much larger daimyo, and obviously they have a ton of health right there, 62 health. This is going to definitely feature alongside a pretty meaty miniature, and then you've got all of the different abilities there, and then you flip it to the other side. You have another one. This is Tesso with even more abilities and more health and stuff going on. So two different examples of some of the larger enemies, and then we have maybe some smaller, minor demons that would show up like this Tengu right here with 17 health and all of these normal and aggressive state abilities. And then you have the Akanami on the other side. Once again, you see the normal and the aggressive state along with the abilities and actions that they are going to do there. So these are enemy dashboards. And then that's going to be followed up with this exploration board here. So you can see it has two different sides to it. This comes in the second phase of the game whenever you are functionally having a dungeon crawler. You're moving your miniature around, you have all of these other obstacles and other places, but then you'll have enemies that will appear and you're going to have, events, NPCs, all of the things that you'd expect from encountering a modular build your map experience when you're exploring and seeing what types of events and what types of scuffles or encounters you'll find yourself in. So this is an example of the tiles that you would have in the exploration phase. Let's get to the miniatures. All right, so right here we have the Dark Shogun. Obviously, the meatiest miniature that we're going to find here, unless maybe you guys got that crazy cool dragon that appears on the campaign page. But this Dark Shogun, narratively, I believe this is your main nemesis, your enemy that is, bringing darkness to the land. And so massive, kind of demonic tongue. This is no longer a human figure. Obviously, some type of transformation has happened, and a massive miniature, a lot of kind of more big details, kind of larger, chunkier pieces just based off of the size of the miniature, but there are plenty more where this came from. Right here, this is one of my favorites. So this is the Tengu. I already showed you this miniature in terms of the dashboard. This was one of the enemy dashboards that came in. This winged demon, holding dual swords, one over the head, one behind the back, and then just an imposing figure. But as you can notice, this miniature has a wash on it, so you see a lot more details where the darker paint color has gotten into the crevices, and it just kind of highlights the level of detail that has gone into the miniatures for Harakiri, which I'm excited about. So this is the Tengu adversary. This terrifying one right here is the Goryo, looking like they're holding a massive ceremonial glaive or maybe an ancestral bow. Very, very kind of creepy target here, almost like a Lord Voldemort, no hair, just a skull. Someone I would not want to meet in real life for sure, but another one of the enemies that you would face. Further along into the box, we have some of the larger miniatures. This is a massive figure, 4 arms, 2 big maces that look like they're some combination of stone or studded metal, and then obviously 2 decapitated heads there. This is an intimidating piece, and again, it features, just like the Tengu, it features that wash on it, which really gives a lot of character to the miniature without even having to have painted it. So really, really cool. Synergic Games, in all of their updates, they've shared, I think, Supernaman, I think is maybe how you say it. And they have a lot of really cool painted versions of all of their miniatures. But this wash alone does a lot in terms of my opinions as to showing stuff off. And I think that maybe, there we go. Just trying to make sure at some point I give a little bit of detail whenever the autofocus kicks in. And then we've got another one here with massive wings and kind of kept in tight, not unfurled all the way. And then a massive scythe there with this demonic figure and very widespread horns, almost like a steer from a cattle, just really widespread. And then the massive scythe with kind of flowing robes. So really cool figure, a lot of details to check out. This next one is maybe one of my favorites, a man that is riding a demon head. So I've got the plastic plate that this rides on, that this sits on. But yes, super, super cool. The chains go around the horns, and then the figure is kind of kneeling in this really intense pose, and the massive scowling, screaming demon head there. So really, really cool. Like this one a lot. Probably one of my favorites out of the ones that were sent. Another one of my favorites is this samurai figure, this warrior that's on top of this horse, astride a horse that is on top of a rocky outcropping. Really, really cool details. I love the high grip on the spear that is pointed down towards the ground. I think that's really cool. And obviously, the horse is in a menacing pose. Kind of looks like a warrior that's about to trample you. And probably the final one that I'll show here is this kind of wart frog covered sumo wrestler. Has all of these boils and bumps on their back, and then this very menacing face that looks super creepy. Not something that I would want to face in a fight, and big, intimidating, lots of heft and weight to it, not discounting the size of the miniature. So another cool one for sure. The last one that I'm going to show is this kind of Zen-like figure. Kind of reminds me of Zenyatta from Overwatch. You've got the extra arms on the back in a very relaxed pose, but definitely seems threatening. Seems like someone who you would not want to mess with lightly. You would want to tread carefully around them. So I like that this one is washed. Really gives a lot of details to the small lines that go across all of the arms. Really kind of accentuates the level of detail that the miniatures have. So I think the washed ones do a great job of exhibiting how Synergic Games kind of brought this game to life with all of the different characters that you have here. So very much excited to see this one in play. And that's probably the last one I'll show you. Some of the last things I'll show are these cards that you've got here. You've got kind of this, celestial figure, and then this demonic figure. And then you've got some of the cards that you could potentially get, starting off with some of the weapons. You have this ancestral bow, which is a staff or a spear. And then you've got this kusarigama, which is a, kind of short-handled, curved blade weapon that's also attached to a chain with a weighted end. And then you have the Sakura armor, the celestial armor, and then Tengu's feather cape, which, you saw the Tengu demon that I showed you earlier, and Nari's amulet, and then the Shikigama's spell. So those are some of the cards that they included to check out. And then I've also got some of the dice. You can check out the dice here. These dice are representative of what you're going to see in the game. There are ones that are of different color for different players and are represented by those there. And then there's also this kind of combat-focused dice. You've got shurikens on there and kunais and other weapons that you can see. And then the final small component is these coins. So these are reflective of the period of history that this game takes place in. And you've got the 25 value, the 5 value, and then the 1 value right there. So those are the different coins that you've got in the game. And as I mentioned, this is the adventure board. This is the board that you will be able to see and play when you're in the first phase, the adventure phase. You have Kyoto in the middle, and Kobe, and Osaka, and Nagoya, and all of these other locations. If you are able to notice, the board has more like kind of imperial roads, and then more rural pathways or dirt roads that connect based off of the route that you take from location to location. That'll have an effect on kind of the safety of your progression as you journey from one place to the next, and it might have hindrances or aid to whatever particular mission or quest that you are undergoing at that time. So this is the adventure phase, and this is the first half of the game. And then the second half of the game, kind of as I mentioned, is the exploration phase, where you're going to have these tiles that are going to be built out to create this experience of you having kind of a dungeon crawler fight alongside all of the story that is taking place in Harakiri. All right, and that is Harakiri Blades of Honor. This is, once again, a production demo box and not the final thing. If you were wondering why there are so few things in the box, it's just to show you guys what's coming up, to keep you excited about your pledge that's coming up, or if you haven't, pledged to this game and you haven't backed this game, if you have any interest of it, to give you a hint of what's in store for you if you decide to go ahead and back it. I have a copy of this on the way that I pledged. I'm excited to check it out. I really like this period of history, and so any ability to engage in it, whether it's got mythological folklore, demons, and all that stuff in it, it always excites me. I think the miniatures in this are pretty impressive, and I'm thankful that I took the time to redo this, because the first time it just didn't show what I wanted to show, and even though I spent time editing it, I'm glad that I'm redoing it. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.